I want you to picture a highly specific scenario. And you probably don't even have to try that hard because for a lot of you listening, this literally happened yesterday.
Or even this morning, honestly.
Right, exactly. So you're walking through a brightly lit shopping center, or maybe, you're just scrolling on your phone late at night in bed.
Oh yeah, the late night doom scroll.
We all do it. And there it is, a massive, brightly colored graphic taking up your entire screen, or a sign in a physical window, and it just says 50% off.
Just those words.
Just those words. And you immediately feel this distinct physical sensation. It's like, it's a rush, a sudden sense of clarity.
Yeah, your heart rate actually bumps up a little bit.
Exactly. Your inner monologue kicks in and starts telling you a very specific story. It says, this is the smart move. I am demonstrating incredible financial discipline right now by taking advantage of this deal.
Right. The internal narrative immediately frames the purchase as a victory. You feel like you're outsmarting the economy somehow.
So you buy the item, you tell yourself you just saved money, and the wild part is, in that exact moment, you genuinely believe your own story.
You absolutely do.
You probably still believe it right now, sitting in traffic or like folding laundry while you're listening to this deep dive. But let's look at the actual physical reality for a second.
This is where it gets uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Let's look at those shopping bags sitting by your front door for 3 weeks with the tags still attached.
Or the returns you swore you were going to make.
Oh, the returns. The store was inconvenient or you were just too tired after work. And so those items are literally still sitting in the trunk of your car right now.
The physical evidence sitting in your trunk points to a much, much deeper behavioral phenomenon.
And our sources for today's deep dive actually attach a concrete number to that exact phenomenon. And it is a staggering metric, $314.
Every single month.
Every single month. That is how much the average American bleeds every 30 days on purchases they later describe, in their own words, as completely unnecessary.
And we're not talking about rent or groceries or, your utility bills.
Right, not the essentials. $314 vanishing into clearance racks and flash sales that you navigated on autopilot. I mean, that translates to nearly $4,000 a year.
It's massive.
Yeah.
But the research points to a deeper layer here that should genuinely make you evaluate how you interact with storefronts.
Yeah, because 70% of those impulsive purchases are triggered solely by the presence of a sale sign.
Solely by the sign.
Not because you needed the item, not even because you, desired the item before the sign caught your eye. A piece of cardboard made the decision for you. You didn't save $50. You spent $314 just to feel the sensation of saving $50.
It is a profound cognitive illusion. And, when you look at that $314 drain, the immediate reaction is often just a huge sense of guilt.
Totally. You feel terrible.
You might think, oh, I have a highly impulsive personality, or I'm just naturally bad with money. But I really want to establish the stakes of this research right up front.
Please do, because I think a lot of people need to hear this.
This is not about a lack of willpower. It's not a character flaw. The reason you spend more during a sale, and the data overwhelmingly shows you do spend more, not less, is because you are walking into an intentional neurological exploit.
Neurological exploit? That sounds almost like hacking.
It basically is. Retailers are leveraging cognitive vulnerabilities that are so ancient that every was 200 now 99 sign is essentially a precision weapon. It's aimed directly at a biological quirk your brain was born with.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if my brain is being quietly hacked while I'm just, trying to buy a pair of shoes, I want to know exactly how they are getting past my own internal security system.
I don't blame you.
So today, our mission is to look at this fascinating breakdown of economy-based behavioral psychology. We want to understand exactly why humans become completely irrational about money.
It really is a complete override of logic.
It is. So let's look at the very first step of this manipulation. How does a simple printed number actually rewire our perception of value? Where does this start?
Well, to understand that, we have to look back at a foundational study from 1999. It was conducted at MIT by the behavioral economist Dan Ariely.
Right, the SSN experiment.
Exactly. And he ran an experiment that I consider to be just a masterclass in exposing our psychological blind spots. He brought students into a room and asked them to do something incredibly simple.
Which is just writing down a number, right?
Yeah, he asked them to write down the last 2 digits of their social security number on a piece of paper.
Which is a completely arbitrary figure. I mean, your social security number has absolutely nothing to do with your personality, your income bracket, or your consumer preferences.
It is pure random noise. There's no correlation to anything.
Okay, so they write down this random number, then what?
After the students wrote down those 2 digits, Ariely presented them with a variety of products. There were bottles of wine, luxury chocolates, computer equipment, things like that.
Standard consumer goods.
Right. He then asked the students to bid on these items in a silent auction. Now, logic suggests that your bid should be based purely on what you believe the inherent value of the wine or the chocolate actually is.
Sure, like I think this wine is worth 20 bucks, so I'll bid 20 bucks.
Exactly. But here is what actually happened. The students who had high Social Security endings, let's say 85 or 99, they bid up to 346% more for the exact same products than the students with low endings, like 12 or 04.
Wait, hold on. 346% more.
Yes.
Simply because they held a pencil and wrote down a high number seconds before looking at a bottle of wine.
That is exactly why. The arbitrary number in their head had physically altered what felt right to spend.
That is insane.
It's wild, right? In behavioral economics, this is called anchoring. The human brain is constantly trying to make sense of value in a highly complex world.
And it's not very good at it natively.
No, it hates working in a vacuum. It needs context. So it locks onto the very first number it perceives, and it establishes that number as a gravitational center.
Like a baseline.
Exactly. Every single decision that follows is pulled toward that initial anchor, regardless of whether the anchor makes any logical sense at all.
Okay, I have to push back on this, though. I mean, I understand how anchoring might work if I'm guessing the price of, like, a rare French wine. Because I don't buy rare wine. I have zero internal baseline for that.
Makes sense.
But what if I am shopping for something familiar, like a standard denim jacket? I have context for that. I know a mass-produced denim jacket isn't worth $200. Doesn't my rational brain step in and recognize the $200 tag as just a blatant anchoring attempt?
Well, you believe you are evaluating the jacket rationally because you are aware of market prices. You think, oh, I know better.
Right. I know it's a trick.
But the research shows the rational part of your brain isn't even the primary system making the decision during a sale.
Wait, really? What system is making it then?
To see why, we have to look at the fMRI data. In 2007, Stanford neuroscientist Brian Knutson actually mapped out what happens inside our skulls when we evaluate prices.
Using brain scans.
Right. He placed participants inside an fMRI machine, which maps blood flow in the brain in real time, and he had them essentially do some online shopping while lying inside this massive magnetic tube.
Okay, so the researchers are literally watching the neurochemical reactions happen live as the subjects decide whether or not to buy a product.
Precisely. And the imaging was incredibly revealing. When a participant saw an item they genuinely wanted to own, a specific region called the Nucleus accumbens activated.
The Nucleus accumbens, what does that do?
It's a core component of the brain's pleasure and reward circuitry. It floods the system with dopamine, just at the mere anticipation of acquiring the item.
So seeing the jacket equals a hit of pleasure. I mean, that completely tracks with anyone who actually enjoys shopping.
It feels good. But the critical moment came when Knutson showed them the full price of the item. The moment the price appeared on the screen, a completely different region of the brain activated.
Which one?
The insula. And what's fascinating here is, well, the insula doesn't process math. It processes physical pain.
Wait, what? So when I look at a price tag, my brain isn't doing arithmetic. It's registering physical discomfort.
Exactly. If you burn your hand on a hot stove, your insula fires to warn you of tissue damage.
Ouch. Okay.
Right. When Knutson's subjects saw the full price of an item, their insula lit up in a highly similar way. The human brain evolved to protect limited resources for survival. Handing over resources, even abstract ones like money, is processed neurologically as a painful loss.
Oh, wow. This is like a massive aha moment when reviewing these sources because it fundamentally redefines what a sale actually is.
It changes the whole picture.
Yeah, think about that price tag. Was $200, now $79. We just processed that as aggressive marketing. But neurologically, the $200 anchor is put there specifically to trigger the insula's pain response.
It establishes a high threat of resource loss.
Right. Then, the $79 isn't perceived as a cost you have to pay. The $200 anchor makes the $79 feel like a rescue operation.
A rescue operation. That is a brilliant way to put it. The brain converts the transaction from a painful loss into the profound relief of avoiding a much larger loss.
So the pain goes away.
The insular response drops significantly, and meanwhile, your nucleus accumbens is still firing that dopamine because you are getting the item.
Yeah. So the prefrontal cortex, like the logical CEO of the brain that's supposed to ask, hey, do I actually need another denim jacket?
Yeah.
It is completely sidelined.
Shut down almost completely.
The dopamine signal is blaring, and the relief from the artificial pain of the anchor feels incredibly validating. You aren't making a financial decision at all. It's a neurochemical event dressed up in the clothing of a financial decision.
The fMRI data confirms it. Before you've even touched the fabric of the jacket, your brain is already riding a high of anticipation and flooded with the relief of avoiding the pain of the original $200 anchor.
It is an invisible architecture, and it doesn't stop with the first purchase, does it?
Not at all. That's just the entry point.
Right. You go in for the jacket, the Insula trick works, and you buy it. But if the pain is gone, why do we so often end up wandering over to the shoe department? Like, why do we leave the store with 3 other items we absolutely did not plan to buy?
The cascade. The initial purchase sets off a secondary behavioral mechanism. This was identified by Richard Thaler, the Nobel Prize-winning economist. He coined the term mental accounting.
Mental accounting.
Yes. The human brain tends to categorize money into psychological buckets, and those buckets operate on highly flawed logic.
Okay, how so?
When you buy that $79 jacket, originally priced at $200, your brain processes the transaction and concludes, I just saved $121.
Which you didn't. You spent $79.
Exactly. But the brain creates a brand new mental account, a psychological bucket labeled found money.
Oh, man. It's the exact same sensation as putting on an old winter coat you haven't worn since last year, reaching into the pocket, and finding a crumpled $20 bill.
Yes.
When you find that 20 bucks, you don't rationally apply it to your utility bill or your rent. You go blow it on a ridiculously overpriced coffee and a pastry.
Because it doesn't feel like the money you earned from your paycheck.
No. It feels like you're playing with the house's money. It feels like casino chips.
And as we know, casino chips are designed to stay inside the casino.
Always.
Thaler's research demonstrated that people who believe they saved money at a sale are significantly more likely to make unplanned purchases in adjacent categories.
Because they have to spend the chips.
Right. They take that imaginary $121 they quote-unquote saved and spend it on a shirt to match the jacket. Often, they end up doubling their total planned spend entirely because that money was placed in the casino chip bucket.
Does the payment method amplify this? Like, if I'm paying with cash, I physically feel the bills leaving my hand. But if I'm just tapping my phone or swiping a credit card, does that frictionless spending make the mental accounting effect even worse?
Oh, massively. The data strongly suggests that credit cards and mobile payments decouple the transaction from the pain center of the brain.
Because there's no friction.
Right. When you remove the physical friction of handing over cash, the Insula activation is muted. You are relying entirely on abstract numbers, which makes the found money illusion much easier for the brain to accept.
And retailers understand this ecosystem perfectly.
They practically invented the modern version of it.
They aren't just aware of these behavioral quirks, they build their entire physical and digital environments around them.
Every single detail.
Just consider the digital storefronts. You log onto a website and immediately see a massive countdown timer ticking away the seconds until the sale ends.
That isn't just creating a sense of urgency.
No. The timer is designed to trigger a mild threat response in the amygdala. It introduces the fear of missing out on a vital resource, which artificially narrows your cognitive focus and further shuts down the analytical processing of the prefrontal cortex.
It creates a state of tunnel vision.
Exactly. And the physical stores do the exact same thing at the register. The cashier hands you a receipt, and at the very bottom, in bold letters, it says, "You saved $47 today."
That is a deliberate activation of the mental accounting exploit.
It's a calculated prompt. They are handing you your casino chips right there at the register, prompting your brain to recognize the found money in hopes you'll, turn around and spend it on a display of sunglasses before you even reach the exit doors.
I want you to loop right back into the store. Recognizing this environment as a coordinated extraction operation is a necessary defense mechanism.
You really have to see it for what it is.
You do, because every element, from the music tempo to the receipt font, is optimized to bypass your logical evaluation.
Okay, so then how do we run counter software against these multi-billion-dollar store architectures? Because obviously we can't just stop buying things forever.
Right, you still need to buy clothes and food.
So our sources outline 3 specific mind hacks to disarm these exploits. Let's walk through them, starting with the initial trap. Hack number 1 is the anchor reset protocol.
Yes. If the store's primary weapon is setting the anchor at $200 to manufacture that sense of relief, the defense is to stop letting them establish the baseline in the first place.
Okay, how do we do that?
Before you engage with any retail environment, whether you are walking through the physical doors of a mall or typing URL into your browser, you must write down the absolute maximum amount of money you are willing to spend.
Like a shopping list.
Not just a per-item budget, a total trip budget. That number, whatever it is, becomes your new anchor.
To give a personal example of why this is so necessary, I was actually looking for a new camera lens recently. I needed a basic one, maybe around $500.
Okay, so $500 is your real baseline.
Right. But I went online and immediately saw a professional-grade lens originally priced at $1,000, on sale for $600.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, I bought the $600 lens and I felt like an absolute genius. But if I had strictly anchored myself to my $500 total limit before opening the laptop, the $600 wouldn't have looked like a $400 discount.
No, it wouldn't have.
It would have looked like being $100 over budget.
Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky explored this extensively. The brain essentially operates using two systems. System 1 is fast, automatic, and highly emotional.
That's the one that sees the sale sign.
Exactly. System 2 is slow, analytical, and logical. System 1 is highly susceptible to visual anchors. But the trick is, the brain doesn't actually care which number serves as the anchor. It just desperately needs a baseline to calculate value.
So you give it one yourself?
Yes. By preloading your own total budget, you are engaging System 2 before you even enter the store. You give your prefrontal cortex a solid, rational reference point that exists prior to the dopamine spike.
So when you walk in and see, was 200, now 79, the 200 loses its gravitational pull.
It's completely neutralized.
Because your brain is already tethered to your own maximum, which fundamentally alters the data your brain uses to calculate value. I love that.
Very effective.
But what about the casino effect? What do we do when that feeling of, I just saved $50, inevitably hits?
That brings us to mind hack number 2. The mental account freeze.
The freeze. Now, this one requires immediate action. Right,
Absolute immediacy. The exact second you feel that specific sensation of having saved money, you stop browsing. You pull out your phone, open your banking app, and you transfer that exact amount, let's say the $50, directly into a savings account.
Right then and there, like in the aisle.
Right in the aisle. Thaler's research indicates that you have a very narrow biological window before the brain solidifies that money into the found money bucket. By taking physical action to redirect those funds, you break the spending cascade.
That makes total sense, because if the $50 leaves your checking account and vanishes into a dedicated savings bucket before you even leave the store, it never transforms into casino chips.
Exactly. It's safe.
You are actively outrunning your own flawed mental accounting system. That's brilliant. So the first hack defends you from the anchor. The second hack defends you from the cascade.
But hack number 3 is really the foundational one. It rewires the metric of value entirely. It is the true cost anchor, or the hourly wage conversion.
Oh, this one is brutal, but so good. How does it work?
The protocol is straightforward. Every single time you look at a price tag, before the anticipation even has a chance to build, divide that price by your hourly take-home wage.
Okay, so let's do the math. If you are looking at a $180 item and your take-home pay is $25 an hour, you divide 180 by 25.
Which is 7.2.
Right. So that item is not $180. It is 7.2 hours of your life.
Exactly.
But why does changing the unit of measurement from dollars to hours so effectively kill the impulse to buy? Like, why is that specifically so powerful?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it comes down to evolutionary biology again. Money as a concept is highly abstract. A number on a screen is literally just eliminated pixels.
Right.
We don't have deep evolutionary wiring to process pixels. But time is deeply biological. We physically feel time.
We feel the fatigue in our muscles, the mental drain of staring at a computer for 8 hours.
Yes. Research out of UCLA by Hal Hirschfield demonstrates this perfectly. When people are forced to connect their purchases to concrete, personal resources like their own finite time and physical energy, their impulsive spending drops dramatically, sometimes by up to 40%.
40%. Just by doing a little division.
Because when the price transforms into hours of my actual life, the insula reactivates.
The pain center comes back online.
Yes. And it is not activating to punish you. It is activating to provide vital, accurate information. It strips away the dopamine high and forces the analytical part of the brain to evaluate the true biological cost of the trade.
You are trading a non-renewable resource, your finite time, for dyed denim.
That's the reality of the transaction.
That reframing changes absolutely everything. I mean, let's synthesize the architecture we've uncovered today. Before examining these sources, you might have thought you were just a savvy shopper finding great deals.
A lot of people pride themselves on it.
They do. But now you see the physical layout of the retail environment for what it actually is. You know that a $200 tag is just a visual decoy. It's placed there to manufacture the sensation of relief.
You know your Nucleus accumbens is being targeted to drown out your rational evaluation.
Exactly. You know, the receipt telling you what you saved is literally just an invitation to play with casino chips.
Every single element of that experience was designed to minimize the pain of paying and maximize the illusion of saving.
But as of right now, you have the counter software. The next time you see a 50% off sign, look, you are still going to feel that dopamine hit. You're human, and the hardware works the way the hardware works.
You can't turn off biology.
No, but you will recognize the sensation. You'll spot the anchor, you'll establish your own baseline, and you'll transfer your saved money before your brain can spend it.
That half-second gap of recognition, that moment where you realize what is happening in your own neurochemistry, is worth more than any budgeting spreadsheet in the world.
It really is.
I actually invite you to test this mechanism right now. Pick up your phone.
Go ahead, do it.
Open your banking app and locate the very last purchase you made that you mentally justified as a good deal. Take that price and divide it by your hourly take-home wage. Look at the result in hours.
Just look at it. You don't have to return the item or feel guilty about it. Just look at the hours.
You will likely feel a small, uncomfortable sensation in your chest or stomach that wasn't there when you made the purchase.
That is your insula turning back on.
That is the physical sensation of evaluating true cost.
And retailers spend billions of dollars annually to turn that feeling off. But you can turn it back on with a simple math equation. Now, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to build on this whole time cost concept.
Take it one step further.
Exactly. Take this idea one step further into your own home today. When you get home, walk to your closet, open the door, and look at those items sitting there with the tags still on.
Look at the bags on the floor.
Yeah. Do not look at them as a misallocation of dollars. Add them up as a misallocation of hours. Ask yourself, how many total weeks of your finite, precious life are currently hanging on those hangers simply because a brightly colored sign manipulated your brain chemistry?
It is a sobering way to view our possessions, but it completely recalibrates our understanding of value.
It strips away the illusion entirely. Outsmarting the system doesn't start with cutting up your credit cards or vowing to never shop again. It starts with seeing the invisible wires. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.